Hey guys, we're about to go live in about 10 minutes. We will be live.
Prempeh.
How are you, brother?
I'm doing good, man.
Still in the process of sharing with everybody, but
nah, you're good. Keep sharing.
Okay,
keep
perfect.
sharing.
For everybody else that's watching.
Absolutely, because we are here on the Not Black, Not White American podcast, and we are here for a special edition, man. We wanted to do a Black history talk with obviously two Black Americans.
Not according to Joe Biden, though.
Yeah, I am Black. I'm sorry, I forgot. I am Black. We I don't know. What should we call ourselves since we ain't Black?
American, not Black, not white American.
Fair enough. Not Black, not white American. We're just Americans, man. So we're going to talk about a lot of stuff today, man. Can we get the music all the way down and off?
All right.
We're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to, talk about, obviously, we are both congressional candidates. So we're going to start off by having you, talk to the people, give them your website, talk about your platform a little bit. And we're going to go into some other stuff, man. We're just going to have a conversation. So we're going to talk about our experiences as Black men in America, because there's a lot of conversation around that right now and a lot of things about race. So I think hopefully we can bring some clarity to the situation, especially for our audience. So it's going to be a good time, man. We're just going to chop it up. We're drinking our tea. Cheers.
Very good tea.
I feel very fancy.
Tea. Yeah, I feel elegant. I believe that's Francois. I may be French, if I'm wrong.
That's American.
Oh, I've never heard. I don't know what you just said. That was like something else.
Well, shout out to Priscilla, my co-host, obviously, that's usually here with me.
Hi, Priscilla.
She's, I'm sure, watching with the family right now, and me and her will be together tomorrow to film a show that will be premiering tomorrow night, a new episode at 8 o'clock. And also remember, we have Right Hook Podcast with Steve Hook premiering with a new episode tomorrow at 7 o'clock. He killed it today, so it's going to be a great episode, so make sure you tune into that tomorrow. So Right Hook Podcast at 7 p.m. tomorrow, and Not Black, Not White American Podcast with myself and Priscilla tomorrow at 8 p.m. So I'm excited, man. This guy, Billy, I mean, you guys seen us together doing a lot of stuff, whether it was cleanups in Patterson, on the campaign trail, just walking around urban cities and just having a conversation. So I'm honored. I'm happy to have him here today. I'm honored to be running this congressional race alongside him over the next year and a half. It's going to be a lot of fun stuff we get to do, man. We're going to tear him up, but it's going to be fun.
well, first off, I'm glad you actually threw your hat in the ring.
You were a big reason for me doing that.
I know. I kept pushing like, yo, bro, you need to do this.
Let's do it.
This is not an option.
Absolutely.
Right? And the reason why I say that, and that goes for a lot of conservative voices across the state of New Jersey and across the United States. I think now, especially after what we saw in 2020, what we're seeing in 2021, it just began.
Yeah.
What we're seeing in 2021, our country's moving in a very different direction. And I believe it's now. Now is the opportunity where the people that you don't see coming, the people from the outside, the regular people, the American people, the people who are not the Ivy League kind of guys, not the lawyers, the regular people that come in here, right? Now is the time for these people to come out and shine, run for office, and and take control. And Darius, you're someone who's got a tremendous amount of influence. You've done a lot of great things across the United States.
I don't got influence, man. I'm just out here being me, brother.
Hey, that's what he says. But Darius can, and you know what it is though, and that's what I love about Darius, and that's what really drawed me to Darius, and we've had a tremendous friendship since then. Is, you know, Darius is very positive. You can't look at this guy and not smile. It's difficult, very difficult. You know, and you know, you exude this this passion, and just like, you know, you don't necessarily care about what people think. You're doing it because you love it, and because you actually genuinely feel good doing it, and you kind of resonate that around the people. And when you came out to Patterson, for example, and helped me out in 2020, and when we had the race, for those of you guys that don't know, Darius and a couple of the people that are working with our campaign, we all came together, and, you know, he said, hey, we should do a cleanup here in Patterson. We did a cleanup in the 4th Ward. It was so emotional. I actually cried like a baby at the end. You know what I mean? Because it was a very, very very good day, because and the part that really got me, man, was seeing like the kids that were talking about how they wanted to use the park and they weren't able to use this park before, you know, and now they can actually hang out, they can play out in there, and it's cool, because I'm like, man, like, you know, something to, even if the park was only clean for, you know, 4 or 5 days, or even a week, or even however long it lasted, just in that moment to see that, I'm like, wow, that's something that, you know, it feels like we really made a difference. And seeing people come from across the tri-state to come out there and do that.
Well, you know, and I will tell you this just on that topic, I think that's something a lot of people take for granted outside of communities like that as well. And we've seen that with other cleanups, whether it was Newark, Camden, Patterson, Philadelphia. The people that came out to volunteer, when they left, a lot of them said, I just didn't know it was that bad. It's crazy. That's the type of love, that's the type of togetherness we need, even in our politics, to move forward as a country.
Absolutely. And that's why I kept telling you, like, Darius, you got to get in there, you got to run, man. It's like you bring a positive energy, you've got a different perspective on a lot of things, and you're not the typical conservative. You know what I mean? I'm not the typical conservative, you know what I mean?
I listen to nothing but rap.
Right. Right. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that we don't love our country, all right?
Absolutely not.
You know what I mean?
They know we love our country.
Oh, yeah. Conservatives come in all shapes, sizes, colors, and all that other really cool stuff. You know, and you're the guy that could really tie a lot of that stuff together. The beautiful thing is, like, I don't know if you saw this, but I think it was New York Times I was reading about 2 or 3 days ago. They were talking about how across the United States that Republican registrations have been down across the country, except for New Jersey. Did you hear that? New Jersey and about 8 other states, I believe it was. New Jersey. And I go on. Yeah. In fact, you know,
Revive New Jersey.
Well, thank you for the plug, brother. But, of course, you know, so Revive New Jersey is a group that myself and our team started. It's something that we decided to get involved with after the election in 2020. We wanted to stay active politically across the state of New Jersey, as well as all across the United States. So there's 2 things. You got Revive America, Revive New Jersey. The intention is to spread it from New Jersey across the United States. And our goal is to enforce political action within our communities, within our state. Starting with the number one thing, in my opinion, I think it's the most important thing, is cleaning up the voter rolls across our state. It's impossible for us to have clean, fair, and safe elections if the voter rolls are giving inaccurate information, people that are dead, people that don't live here, and people who have misplaced names and all that. So we have to get all that stuff accurate, get that orderly, so we can ensure fair elections moving forward.
And speaking of groups, this same part of the same reason. And before we go, Eli, how do we sound? The audio sound good? We're go, my
fantastic.
Man. We got Eli here, Billy's campaign manager, and we actually have Saudia, our engineer, on the board. You want to say hi, Saudia? She got a mic today.
Good evening, world.
Oh, wow. The radio voice.
There we go. Now, you know, just like Billy started Revive USA, Revive New Jersey, I also recently founded and started a political party called the New American Party. Yeah. And I know there's been a little bit of confusion, so let me just clear it up very quickly. I am running as a Republican. I'm running as a New American Party Republican. It's of sorts like the Tea Party, and kind of like what Billy, the goal of this group is to hold our elected officials accountable. Yes. I'm a Republican, I'm a conservative, I'm going to run as a Republican, I'm going to help Republicans, I'm going to help conservatives, but we will not be afraid to hold people accountable through these groups that we have, and it's only right. And I love the process. I think our governorship, having so many people throw their hats in the ring and just having those options is always a good thing. And our party is going to continue to facilitate those type of things to make sure it's a fair, balanced process and regular, everyday Americans can get involved in this process. So let's do something. Let's start. I want to start with you, Billy. I know we kind of did a little bit of this now, but can you just introduce yourself, give them your website, all your information, and just give them an idea of your platform and what you're about?
So everybody that's tuning in at home, my name is Billy Prempeh. I'm from Paterson, New Jersey. I'm running in NJCD9. I ran in NJCD9 in 2020. I'm also running again in 2022. When we ran in 2020, we ran a very short campaign. COVID came out of nowhere. We ran 7 months into the game. And I really decided to get involved because, for one, it was because of another mentor. The same way I pressured you to say, hey, man, you're the guy for the job. Yeah. Another person, Dr. Hector Castillo, who was running in District 5. He's been a doctor in Paterson many, many years. Went to a Trump rally with him. He said, hey, Billy, I love the way you speak. I love the things you talk about. You're a really sharp guy. Like, I think you're the perfect person to run this. And I'm like, me, no. But he saw something in me that I didn't see.
You ever heard this guy speak? You know he's the right guy.
Well, never heard this guy speak. You know what I mean? But so he kind of saw something to me that I didn't really see. A lot of other people started saying, hey, we think you do a great job if you actually went out there and you ran for it. So go for it. And I decided to get involved and throw my hat in the ring. And the main reason why I did is for a few reasons. One, I'll tell you the personal reason. The personal reason is, for one, as a child growing up, everybody always compared me to my opponent. My name is Billy Prempeh. Bill Pascrell is the opponent. So to make fun of me, because as a kid, and you probably know what I'm talking about, growing up when it's election season, in these Democrat-ran cities, you see the names plastered all over the place. You know what I'm saying? On every sign, on every door, in every store, forget it. It's all over the place, right? So everybody would see Pascrell all the time, right? And people would make fun of me. Say, hey, Pascrell. So they could have pronounced Prempeh for whatever reason. But it's something that always bothered me. For quite some time. I'm like, I don't even know this man. I never saw what he looked like until I was about maybe 19 or, in fact, until I was about maybe 19 or 21 or something is when I first saw this guy's face, right? And then when the 2020 election kind of happened, I started to notice that this guy, Pascrell, just keeps throwing dirt at the president. And I'm like, this guy is spending copious amounts of time sending tweets about how much he doesn't like the president. And I'm like, bro, there's people getting shot up literally every single day. If you got the Newsbreak app and you live in New Jersey, or you at least live in the Passaic County, you will see what I'm talking about literally every single day. Every other day, someone's getting shot, someone's getting arrested, heroin bust, all kinds of nonsense, car accidents, like really bad situations. And this guy is dedicating a ludicrous amount of time to bashing the president. I'm like, well, what are you doing to help get the police officers their resources so they can actually help deal with these problems? What are you doing to actually help some of the people that are, in fact, one of the biggest issues that we had since the COVID crisis in 2020, one of the biggest things was in Passaic County, people were having a hard time just getting their unemployment benefits or even just getting their feet off the ground. Businesses were shutting left, right, and center, and they wanted to keep things this way. And it really upset me starting to see how this guy is really not doing what's best for the people. So I decided to get involved in the race and stand for the things that really matter. The education system has been terrible in the 9th district for a very, very long time. And I'm someone who's a firm believer in school choice. I don't believe that the government should come in and tell you what you can and cannot do with your children's education, or at least your ability to educate your children. The government coming in and telling you what they feel is best, and it kind of mandating that, and not only takes away your right to give your kids a thorough education to the best of your ability, but they also limit parents, and this is something that happened to my parents while growing up. They limit parents from where they can actually send their children to school based on zip codes and where their location is. And I believe if a parent's willing to make those sacrifices and they're willing to do what they got to do to give their children the best education possible, nothing should stand in the way to stop them from doing that. Big time. Yep. And I know this is something that you're a big fan of as well too, man. Term limits. And I think this is something that everybody that's running should be a big fan of is term limits, because the guy that I ran up against, he's about to go on his 25th year. Sheesh. Running into this thing, with same position, with nothing to show for it, with really nothing to show for it except for orange man bad tweet. That's literally it as of recent years. Prior to that, he kind of was like tumbleweed in the wind. And seeing a lot of what this guy has done in the area, he hasn't really made much of a change. And the part that scared me the most was seeing how much crime has skyrocketed in places like Paterson, because Paterson is the largest inner city in in the 9th District. And I see how these Democrats will come in and they take advantage of the African-American community, Hispanic community, come in there, pan their hand out a couple of turkeys, and then they're gone with the win. You never see him ever again. Bill Pascrell, that's his whole modus operandi. That's what he does. And it's frustrating because while people are out there and while people in Patterson are struggling to get by and make ends meet, people around here selling drugs, they're tearing up their community, and at the same time, you turn your back on the police officers, which I thought was not only a slap in the face to the police, but then it's a slap in the face to the community, because the police who have backed this guy for many, many years, in 2020, he decided to back a bill that would have effectively limited the ability for the police officer to actually do their job, all at a time when the police needed the support the most. And that's something that really surprised me moving into my race, because I'm also a supporter of police reform. But it's not in the police reform that many people think of. A lot of people think of police reform, they think of it, defund the police, get rid of these guys, put them in the basement, right? That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is about creating accountability boards to keep a national training record for every police officer. And I got this idea from my time when I was in the United States Air Force. Every single job and every single thing that you do while you are in the military, every single thing is documented with the things you learn, the things you do. Same thing with a police officer. On this day, you learn constitutional law. On this day, you learn about firearms proficiency, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And I understand every police department has their own different curriculum, but I believe there has to be a nationally recognized mandatory curriculum that everybody at least should adhere to, at least the basics, right? So that when something actually does happen, because the biggest problem that I've seen is that, and this is something that I've heard from a lot of cops, which is surprising, and they're the ones who actually support, they've been the biggest supporters thus far of what I'm proposing. Is a lot of police officers have told me how they see someone on the police force that they themselves have a hard time getting rid of. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize, because when people look at police, they look at them as like they're just some scumbag behind the badge. But at the end of the day, that's somebody's father, that's somebody's mother, that's a human being as well too. And trust me, they want to do the right thing, just like all of you. But when you have a system in place that makes it difficult to get rid of the bad apples, everybody else suffers. You see? So I said, well, what could we put in place to actually incentivize the unions to get rid of the worst police officers and keep the best police officers? Two things: the police officers that do try and that try and better their education or do anything that'll make them a better police officer, whether it's learning martial arts, some kind of psychological course or anything like that, these officers should be compensated. Is it not in our best interest to give us the best police department possible? I don't see a problem with that. Number two, if somebody does something wrong, nobody can actually protect you. If on this day you were trained to de-escalate in this way and you did it that way, and you're on video doing this, nobody can protect you.
Yeah, that's it.
There's nobody can protect you. So, and then this brings me the final point in terms of police reform, because what ends up happening is the police will eventually police themselves. And here's how this is going to happen, because I bring up this story quite a bit in Patterson about 3 years ago. This gentleman, his name was Jamik Lowry. Long story short, he went to a police department, was on a live stream. When the live stream cut off, he was taken to the St. Joseph's Hospital in an ambulance. Following day, his face is swollen shut. Guy's dead. Now, Patterson Police Department, based on the police report, he had to be restrained and he was taken to the hospital. That's literally it. No word as to what happened or whatever, right? Police department does their investigation. There's no wrongdoing with them, right? Obviously, the people are upset. So let's play devil's advocate. I'm not saying that the police did do anything, but let's just say that the case is they did absolutely nothing wrong. It had nothing to do with them, right? How do you prove it now? Because at the end of the day, that information is coming from the police departments. Even if they're doing their due diligence and they're doing the absolute right thing, it's difficult for the people to even believe that. All right, so here's where the second part comes in. We elect a sheriff. A sheriff is someone who's elected office. We elect a new person, a community justice officer in this case, all right? We say, hey, listen, in Patterson, we are all electing Darius Mayfield to be the community justice officer.
Let's go.
Oh, okay. All right. That's it. You the guy. All right. So I thought. Okay. So Darius, I'm like, wait a minute. You trying to bounce? So let's say we make Darius a community justice officer, right? Darius, we want you to investigate what happened in this scenario, right? You'll have your team, just like our sheriffs have their own team. You do your investigation. You work alongside the police, all right, in their investigation, right? Just to ensure that there's transparency on both sides. Now, what happens if you get corrupted? Because that's something that somebody brought up to me. I said, well, that's an interesting one. I never thought about that. It's like, well, if the police departments get corrupted and this guy's local, what if you get bribed, right? Not saying that'll happen, but let's say it does, right? That's where the fourth and final layer, and then we're done with this bill, right? Comes in. The JARO bill will task the Department of Justice of creating a national police department, right? Now, the role of this police department, they do not get involved in civilian matters. Their job is, if Darius is trying to do his job, right? But let's say he's stonewalled by the police, there's some kind of breakdown in communication, or the people themselves have lost trust in Darius, someone from the Department of Justice, one of these JARO officers, will come to the state or come to the city, municipality, whatever it is, conduct their investigation and go home. This isn't going to be a guy that's from New Jersey. It's going to be a guy from Wisconsin or Alabama or some random place who has no allegiance to your state, no allegiance to any police officer in your entire state. His job is get in there, find the bad guy, go home, and hang with his family, right? That's it at the end of the day. So with a system like that in place, where the police are policing you, you do the wrong thing, now they have to get rid of you. And remember, the police unions, their job is to look as good as possible so they can continue to get funding to keep doing what they're doing, right? Mm-hmm. You only want the best officers. You only want the best of the best. So it's in your best interest to get rid of that police officer, especially if they're documented going against the curriculum. Mm-hmm. If a police officer wants to act as a police officer, I believe, because it's a complicated job. And I think a lot of people really downplay like how complicated it is being a cop. Every scenario is a little bit different. If I wanted to be a heart surgeon, I can't just open up your heart. If I haven't, brushed up on my skills every year, you got to renew that license. You can't even cut hair without renewing your license. Being a police officer is complicated. Why is it something like, well, in order for you to be a police officer, you have to, refresh your training so you can carry that badge as a license to continue to do your job as a police officer. I think that's totally fair. Your record backs all that stuff up. You give it about 6 years. There's only 3 options. If you are a bad cop or you're someone who's done something wrong or you've been found to have some wrongdoing, right? You either quit, you do the right thing, or you get caught. Those are the only 3 options that you have if you're doing the right thing. You give it a couple of years, these police departments will clean themselves out. And that's a solution that I've brought so far. And surprisingly, police have actually been the biggest supporter of this idea because, they want to get rid of the bad guys too. And
absolutely.
Hey, if I'm going to study and I'm going to do the right thing and be a better cop, I get compensated for it. I see no wrongdoing. So it's worked out quite well.
Well, now you guys see why I say Billy's a great talker.
I talk too much. It's his show too.
No, it's not too much at all. I think the stuff that you were saying is important, and people seeing you speak about this intelligently and understanding the issues is very important because there's a great divide in this country when it comes to this issue right now.
Yeah.
This is a very, very important issue, and especially to Black American men coming from the community. So he comes from Patterson. I was born and raised in New Brunswick, New Jersey, in the projects with my mother, little sister. So we both come from the hood. So I've been in and I've talked about
I'm still before. In Patterson. In the 4th ward, dog.
Well, I've talked about this before. I mean, even me growing up, I've had, as a kid, I had a lot of run-ins with the law. I had my time.
Can't say the same.
Yeah, I can.
That's why I went to the military. I was like, I could have.
I was a bad kid.
I could have, but I was like, let me do the right thing and go this way.
I tried to escape to the military. They wouldn't take me. But
oh man. Hey, but you know what? That's what makes you a better candidate today, though, is because like how bottom rock bottom gets.
Well, this is what I'll say though. Like, people in our positions, right? The majority of them right now, Black people in the hood, they don't look at police favorably. Right?
No.
There's a real big disconnect. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that. One of the reasons I think I've been able to kind of stay above the fray in this conversation, even though I was a kid growing up that got into a lot of trouble. I mean, to one point when I was a kid, probably 13, 14 years old, I had to lay on the ground in my suit with like 8 cops with their guns pointed at me and my cousin on the ground. They had to go in the church and get
I've been in a situation like that.
Crazy.
Yeah,
right?
pretty wild.
But here's the thing. I recognize that in a lot of those situations, it was me. I did something.
Me was just wrong place, wrong time. I mean, the dudes I was rolling with were,
Billy was a good boy. Me?
No, I wasn't. But I just wasn't doing what they were doing. You know what I mean? Just wrong place, wrong time.
I was out there wilding a little bit, but as I reflect on it now, and I think that's part of the reason why I was able to ascend to some of the heights I was able to ascend. I'm a very reflective guy. I like to reflect on the things that happen, the experiences that I have, and not that it happens every time, but I like to grow from them. I do a lot of thinking on the things that have happened in my life, the situations I found myself in, the things that are going on. One, and all the points you brought up about community police and all that is amazing. And I also think we need to go to other levels where we need more community policing. So for instance, my Uncle Bobby, God rest his soul, passed late, was a 20 plus year veteran of the Marlboro Police Department. He started a program within that department where they specifically recruited people within Marlboro to become detectives, cops, Secret Service agents, different things like that. He's put hundreds and hundreds of people through this program, and they've all ascended to great heights within the law enforcement community. As a congressman, and I'm sure you would, and hopefully when we both get there, we can partner up on stuff like this. We need to create more community programs to encourage kids right within our own communities to become cops and to understand we need to change the mentality because as well as I know, in those areas right now, it's don't be a snitch. The cops are the pigs. You can't do that. It's a whole mentality. So kids, even if they wanted to, even if they were 4, 5, 6, 7 years old thinking about being a cop, by the time they're 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old.
I didn't want to be a cop at that point.
Some of them. Maybe
well, when I was a kid, I didn't. I mean, growing up, as a kid, you get a gun, cool stuff. You grow up and you're like, robbers, actually.
You playing with your brothers and your sisters, cops and robbers. And there are, and listen, I'm sure there's a group of those people that, at some point, wanted to maybe be a law enforcement officer. Yeah. But growing up in those communities based off what you see, based off the way they train your brain, a lot of those aspirations get taken away very quickly.
Yeah, I could agree.
Right.
It's messed up. Yeah, I agree.
So we need to create programs where there's more outreach because right now, a lot of these problems stem from, in our communities, you have a lot of people that are cops in these communities that know nobody in the community. They don't come from the communities. There's no connection to the communities. That's just like you or me if we came straight out the hood and we started, we became a police officer in the most suburban of suburban neighborhoods. We may not be able to relate in the same way because that's just not where we were born and raised. That's just not our understanding, right? So the more we start to push those programs, the more we start to change the mentality. And I was having some conversations with people the other day about this whole no snitching thing. Now that goes on the other side as well. When things happen, when somebody does the wrong thing, when it's a bad apple, we know we have this code of blue silence. We can't have that. If police officers want people in these communities to give them the help needed to find the perpetrators and to solve crimes, you can't then in turn on your side, if somebody on your side does something, feel and project the complete opposite where you guys just can't open up, you can't snitch, there's this thin blue line and you can't cross that. We all need to stop, and it relates to our politics as well when we see our politicians that are just not regular people anymore. They're so far removed from people like me and you.
They're suit and tie guys, and I'm wearing a suit and tie, but I'm not a suit and tie guy.
He's not, neither am I, kind of sometimes. But
I'm a politician guy.
Absolutely. We
but
both
not
are
a
now.
guy.
Did you ever think we'd be politicians 10, 15 years ago, man? Crazy.
Yeah, right. But you know what's funny? Fun fact. Before COVID ever happened, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but before COVID happened, I was actually training to be a professional wrestler.
Yo, I can see that.
Yeah. I was training to be a professional wrestler, and then COVID happened, and then I said, you know what? Let's punch Pascal in the face politically. Let's punch Pascal in the face. I think that'd be great.
You gotta say that for they
politically.
No violence. We do not endorse violence.
Politically.
Yes.
Okay. He's an old man. That's not happening. All right. It's a joke. It's an LOL. But I want to touch on something though about what you said with the community policing and incentivizing more officers from within their community to police. It's funny because it's like this is something that I thought of for a while too. I was like, this is something that I think my microphone cut off. I can't hear myself. Oh, there we go. All right.
No, I heard you the whole time.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't hear myself then. I'm all right. I messed up the stream. But anyway, that's something that I thought of for quite some time. I was like, well, how do we get more people in the community involved? And the thing that's funny is like I remember I sat down with I'm not gonna reveal which police department, but I sat down with several police officers. Actually, I can't even say it was a department. It was a union. It was a union of police officers that I spoke with not long ago.
Which is a topic we need to touch on as well because unions need to do a better job.
Well, that's exactly why the JARL bill will force and incentivize them to do a right job.
And I just want to say these unions, these politicians, you guys, and this is not a threat, man, but you guys need to realize one thing. We are a new generation. We don't have fear in our hearts. So sometimes, people in the past avoided talking about these things and avoided going into these conversations because, especially within not just our community, but rural America, there's this fear sometimes because of the pressure that's been applied by our officials. We're a different breed. We are millennials. We are 80s babies, whatever you want to call us. We grew up free, unabated, doing what we want, when we want, and you're going to see that same character. You're going to see that same love of life and love of this country and love of freedom in everything we do. So please understand, when we say these things, and I think I speak for both of us, we're not playing around, man. We're looking for things to be done, and if they're not done going forward, we're letting you know that we have the organization, we have the means, the people to start applying pressure to these organizations to start at least trying to get these things done, because we know it doesn't just happen overnight.
Yeah, and here's the thing with the unions, for example. Let's kind of just touch on that, because when I first started and I embarked on this, my whole thoughts on the police reform thing were very different. This was like shortly after this was shortly after what's his name passed away. George Floyd.
Yeah.
Right. And prior to that it was Eric Garner, where I kind of had the idea in my mind, but I kind of like materialized it around the George Floyd thing. And initially it was get rid of the unions. That was the first thing that came to my mind. Till I started actually meeting union representatives and speaking with them and understanding the actual problem. You see, at the end of the day, because look, when I come up with the solution, and it's even the same with school choice, right? The teachers union hates me. NJEA absolutely hates my soul. That's okay. I don't like you either.
I think they hate all conservatives.
That's fine. We don't like you either. You know what I mean? I want education for my kids. That's it. But when I started meeting with a lot of these union chairs and kind of hearing their perspective, what I understand is this. If I'm going to put legislation forward, it has to benefit all sides, but it has to be reasonable and make sense. All right. Absolutely. I don't want to get rid of the unions. I want to make you do your job, though, which is get rid of the bad. You want to make the police department look as good as possible, right? All right. Well, now I'm incentivizing, and if you don't, here's a record. That guy went against that. You protect that person. Now you're the problem.
Well, that's why the national database is going to be useful.
Correct. And don't get me wrong. Like, not all curriculums will be on there, but the stuff that absolutely matters.
Yeah.
That every police officer, like the common sense stuff that every police officer should know, will be on this database, essentially. The unions serve a purpose, actually, especially when I started to hear about how Bill Pascrell really turned his back on the police officers in Passaic County, how he was kind of just dangling their pensions on a carrot on a stick and basically, vote for me, donate for me, and this is what will happen. In 2020, when I ran and I shot that video at the Great Falls, basically laying into Pascrell about like how he just turned his back on the police, like the police kind of just were like, we got to talk to Bill, like this guy's a little bit different, right? And seeing the direction that seeing what's actually going on with the police officers on a union level, I understand that it's like they have to also protect themselves, because the politicians and everybody are not going to protect them either. The problem is, like, when the apples start to get bad, you still have to stick together, unfortunately.
Well, I think that's more of the reason.
I get it.
For them to support people like you and me, because we see both sides.
Exactly. Because it's like, listen, it's like, I understand it. Trust me, it's a problem they want to get rid of too. Exactly. But how can you when no one else will help you? Yep. You understand what I'm saying? And if you're going to incentivize me to make it better, because, like, listen, a lot of these, you got to look at it this way, man. I could say this: an officer from, a retired officer from the Bronx. He called me. I was on the. This was like very, very early on in my campaign when I was kind of like formulating the whole JARA plan. Yeah. Man, me and this guy would have these conversations. He would tell me about like the wildest stuff in the world that he saw when he was a police officer in New York, right? And he told me a story. He was like, let me tell you some of the stuff that they would do in his police department. So I don't know if this is still a common practice, but when he was a police officer, he was saying this is what was going on, right? He told me this story, right, about how he was like, you want to make the police departments like not look bad or look like they're not doing their job or not getting their job done properly, right? So let's say he told me a story about how a lady's home got broken into. Somebody stole 2 of the cable boxes, right? She goes, tells the police, okay, we got to file a police report, right? She files a police report. Hey, stuff is stolen, right? Tries to get compensated for the boxes. The police report comes back, and it's not a stolen property report. It's a missing property report. Right? As if like the cable boxes grew legs and just walked away. You know what I mean? So Nobody robbed you. I mean, we can't catch the guy, and at the end of the day, it's not going to show us a statistic that you've been robbed. You know what I mean? So I'm like, and that's just a very minute kind of thing. I'm not saying all police departments do that, but based on what he's told me, I'm like, if there's people actually doing that, that's a problem. You know what I mean? And if you're doing that so that you can maintain your funding, that's an even bigger problem. Because now there's no incentive to correct that action and put better police officers on the force. You know what I'm saying? You incentivize that and you force that in, the good cops, mark my words, will push the bad cops out.
It's just like work. What does your boss do when they want you to hit certain goals? They incentivize you to hit those goals. So you hit it right on the head. And you brought up George Floyd not too long ago. I think that's an important piece. And I think we're both on the same page. One, we think a lot of the media, which we've seen, is just fake news nowadays. They just cover
fake news,
what they want to cover, and they just say things from their perspective. One thing they didn't cover, right? Ever since Obama became president, over Obama's term, we saw this happen a lot, where there would be police shootings, and then there would be the sides would instantly break out. Conservatives were for the cops, back to blue, back to blue. Democrats over here, no, cops are evil, da 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 da. But when George Floyd happened, one thing they didn't cap, and they did this purposely because they don't want to see us come together. They just want to keep seeing this fight.
Absolutely.
Conservatives everywhere were like, that's wrong.
Crazy.
That's wrong.
I don't know a single conservative that supported that.
Neither did I.
Not a single one.
But that's the difference between, especially African Americans like me and you, and a lot of the ones I see on the left right now, where we can still be sensible in that way. It's not about, and I know sometimes, I haven't been called it too often, but I see other people, they like to call us Uncle Tom, stuff like that.
Nobody's
nobody
on the internet.
Us like that.
People call me that stuff on the internet. They don't say that to my face.
I think I got called that one time on the internet. That was from some guy in
big guy,
like California or something. But for people like us, and I'm really proud of this, and this is one of the things that really drew me to you, and what you do. Is we need to have some sensibility about the things that we're doing. If we keep driving ourselves off a cliff, we're going to fall off that cliff.
Absolutely.
And I think there's too many people nowadays on both the left and the right, but specifically the left right now with things like Antifa and some parts of the BLM movement that are just so extreme, and we see it in the cancel culture, how they're just canceling everybody, that there is no room for anybody else's opinion. So basically what those people are telling us right now is everything they think is absolutely correct, absolutely right, and nobody else has the answers to anything. That if you just think about it like that, like get out of your own head, get out of your own ego. We need to get back to sensibility, and this is one of the main reasons I'm running for Congress, is to really put regular people in this house. I always put up this saying, and a lot of people don't realize this. But the reason why our founding fathers put such few restrictions on running for Congress is because it's the closest chamber to the people.
Yes.
It wasn't meant to be filled with lawyers, because that's all we have in Congress right now. Lawyers, that's it. And these lawyers, every year, every election, every decade, they write all these laws that the average American doesn't even understand.
It might as well be in Japanese, and you're not Japanese.
And then we wonder why 2, 3, 4 years later, they're able to cherry pick something out of that bill that works for their benefit, and we're sitting here like, where'd that come from?
Exactly.
It was the lawyers, the 100 lawyers that put this together in, strategic lawyer terms that none of us understand, and then something kicked in 2 years later that basically took $100 billion from our Social Security fund. Nobody ever knew that was going to happen. We're sick of it. We're sick of it, guys.
Good example is
and this is not the white power sign. I'm sorry. I know I did this. That means okay.
Hey, when we were kids, this meant okay. It's always meant okay as a child, but today it's like the internet,
okay.
And trolls and all that.
Which Joe Biden is doing it today, and nobody in the media doesn't say anything. He did it like 5 times in the speech the other day.
Listen, this guy Joe Biden. Let me tell you something, man.
Joey.
Just kind of to change gears. Let's bust Joey's chops for a little bit. Let's bust Joey's chops for a second, right? Joe. Basement Joe, this guy. I don't know if you saw the video I put on my Instagram, bro, where it says like all the bad things that Biden did in his first week in office in like under 1 minute, and I rattle off like 10 or something different things. Bro, from cutting the pipeline off, right? 70,000 jobs gone. You can't handle the crisis that's going on in Texas. You weren't prepared for this. You're not even doing anything trying to help these people. You're not even making a statement.
He just declared a national emergency today.
Oh, Sa? Well, that took quite some time.
Exactly. Just today. Donald Trump would have had the military out there the day after.
Would have been done. And the thing, and then to make matters worse, you cut these pipelines off, right? Me and Eli were talking about this while we're driving down here. Gas is $2.82. No, it's Probably higher than that. About 282 last time we saw it down here, right? 282. Last time gas even got even remotely this close was under Barack Obama, was under $4. And we're going backwards in that direction. We're going in that direction. So it kind of just tells me, it's like, well, where exactly are the Democrats taking us? Where exactly is Biden taking us? Where are local officials taking us? Basement Bill Pascal, Bonnie Watson, whatever her last name is.
Bonnie Watson Coleman.
There you go. Where are you guys taking us?
My presumed opponent.
You know, because they tend to kind of just toe the line and roll with that same exact narrative. And I'm like, I feel like you guys, they call themselves progressives when in reality, they're regressing us backwards.
Wait. You want to hear regression? How about you said it in the beginning, Joe Biden has already said me and you aren't black. And now, just as soon as 2 days ago, said that black people don't know how to use the internet.
And Spanish people.
Wait. This, and I was just telling Billy and Eli this takes me back to a few years ago when we were having the voter debate. We were having voter ID debate.
Yeah.
And somebody, I think it was Hannity, sent somebody on the streets to talk to black people in Harlem. And they asked them, how do you feel about voter ID laws? Because from what we hear, you just don't have license, you don't have IDs. Every single person they talk to says, what are you talking about? I've had a license since I was 18 years old.
Everybody's got an ID.
I've had a license since I was 18 years old.
Like, yo, what are you, a criminal? You don't have one of these? Like, come on.
Honestly, they really, especially the Democratic Party, they're really playing with the hearts and the minds of our people. Because people are our people, and they've been doing it for a long time. And that's not to say that the Republican Party is perfect. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Republican Party has been perfect or they're perfect. But if you look at what's going on right now, and you look at the way people talk to you, you have one person on one side. Joe Biden says black people don't know how to use the internet. They don't have IDs, and you're not black if you voted for Donald Trump. Then you have somebody in Donald Trump that in the 4 years, not 8, that he was there, passed criminal justice reform, opportunity zones, and
platinum plan.
Well, was going to do the platinum plan, passed permanent funding for HBCUs. What are we talking about? And we're comparing that to Joe Biden.
I'm gonna put Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill.
And that's probably not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
But he also gave the eulogy at a KKK member's funeral.
David Byrd.
Yeah, Robert Byrd.
Right? I don't remember KKK guys.
The last known member of the Senate that was actually a part of the KKK. The last known, and it was a Democrat. The last known one that was actually a part of the KKK, and I think Obama attended this funeral as well.
Yeah.
But yet Obama, Michelle, Biden, Kamala, they're all out here just screaming racist, while there's one man actually doing things for the black community, but the people that are telling us he's racist are actually attending KKK members' funerals.
You want to know something? You want to know something funny? You know something funny about that?
Wow.
Is like you said with Kamala Harris, right? They're all like, oh, racist. During the primary, wasn't this guy the most racist person under the sun?
And didn't Kamala say he was?
Exactly. And now, Joe Biden, you're the champion of black people. Joe, we did it. You seen that video?
And Kamala's not even, honestly, we could say she's not black because actually this is, we're talking about Black History Month, right? And I want to say this. This country is interesting, man, and our politics are interesting.
That's why we're the best.
Barack Obama, his father was from Africa.
So they say.
Mom was from
Frank
Hawaii.
Marshall Davis.
Kamala Harris, mom was from India. Dad was from Jamaica. Anybody know what these two people have in common? I'll tell you. Neither one of them are descendants of slaves. Neither one of them. I am.
I'm not.
I saw, and that's not a knock on you guys.
I'm like, hey man, my parents came from Africa. What you saying?
That's not a knock, but I saw something. Isaiah Washington, who was became a big Trump supporter, right? And he said he put up a post during Trump's term, and he put up a picture of himself, and he basically said, if he gets elected, speaking of himself, Isaiah Washington, if I got elected, I would be the first black president. That hit me. And a lot of people don't realize that. Even though, listen, it's okay for your parents not to be from America. That's not what I'm saying here. But for Democrats to talk about equality, how much they love the black and brown community, they sure do a good job of directly not putting people in those positions, especially whether it's president with Barack Obama or vice president with Kamala Harris, that actually have those ties and actually are descendants of slaves in this country. And again, it's okay not to be, but you look at the ADOS movements in this country and everything like that. It's
real big in Ghana right now. Real big in Ghana.
Big thing, man. I mean, our roots, just so you know, I'm a quarter Native American. Both of my great-grandfathers, right, Saudia, were 100% Native American in this country, came from the two biggest tribes in this country, and they got together with slaves. And that's how my family was started in this country. So we trace our roots all the way back to the
My
Native
parents just came
Americans.
from Ghana.
Everything. Well, that's why you're so smart, man.
Nah,
African, African smart, boy. I'm
Regular
surprised
guy.
you're not a doctor. They probably mad.
Of course they mad, man. Like, this guy goes to the Air Force of all things. You know, bro, you supposed to be cutting open hearts. You know,
but
I'm a letdown. Mom, I'm a politician.
Oh man, it's just, you know, I just bring this point up to just show, you know, the manipulation that is being played with people in this country, especially people of color, and especially to the point where, you know, and I think that's, and I you know, correct me if I'm wrong, I think some of what me and you do is inspired by that, but by the manipulation they're putting on other people, by the council culture they're trying to levy on other people because they think a different way, because they're conservatives and this and that. And I can tell you, and I know Billy, we're not scared of that stuff, man. This is America. We've been free all our lives. We've been doing what we want all our lives. And it's okay to think differently. I don't hate, most of my family are Democrats. Most of the people that are friends on my Facebook page before I got into politics and everything are Democrats. I still love them. I don't think I've lost any actual friends, you know, through this process with me coming out, whether it was my support for Donald Trump or, you know, me just being a conservative. That's normal to me.
Oh,
We're
they tried to
friends,
burn me alive like a witch.
I know. I hear that so much.
They try to burn me
man.
like a witch, boy.
I hear that so much. I think I'm just forcing it in that way.
You know what I
man.
mean? But you know what, man? I don't care, bro. I'm 6'2", 270, bro. What are you gonna do? You gonna tie me to the tree? Go for it.
Well, let me ask you a question. Because we are here to talk about Black History Month a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things I seen, I forget the gentleman's name, but there are other people that feel this way. There are some, and specifically, it was coming from the conservative side a little bit, that believes that we should do away with Black History Month.
I agree.
Do you? Why?
Yeah. Well, the reason why I agree is because, first things first, me personally, I've always, even as a child, I've always hated identity politics. I've always hated, you know, black group here, Spanish group here, gay this, gay that, women here, men there. I've always hated those groups. Because when I look at people, even when people tell me, even my mom had a conversation with me about this. She's like, oh, you got to go back to the motherland one day. And I'm like, Mom, this is my motherland.
I can't wait to go to Africa, by the way.
Oh, of course. Believe me, I'm going to go.
wait.
Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? Believe me, I'm going to go to Africa. But at the end of the day,
We should go together once we become congressmen.
I'm with. We got a job to do. We can't go.
You can. We go out there and we start negotiating trade deals and stuff with them and bring them back to our district, bro. That's what congressmen do.
Got it? Hey, well, you know what? Hey,
Come on, man.
all right. Well, I mean, I don't know. We'll find business over there.
Bringing Africa to America, baby. Coming to America, coming in March, part 2.
Right? One of the greatest movies of all time, by the way.
Yes.
Now, you know, she told me, you got to go back to the motherland. And I'm like, Mom, I love Africa. You know, I'm African, clearly. But at the end of the day, I'm an American. I was born here. This is my motherland. If I go to Africa, if anything, I'm an outsider over there. Because I'm like, Mom, like you and I both, even my mom, she's been in America so long.
Yeah.
She's been in America, what, 35 years now? Last time she went to Africa, first off, all her friends are either like ultra old or they don't live there anymore. Or like she said, Ghana's a totally different country. Like, it's like she does not recognize her country. Like, she's like, yo, if I were, you know, to be buried in Ghana, like, nobody would know that I'm even there. Like, that's how long she's been here, you know? And she said they even treat her differently. Like, oh, you're not Ghanaian. You're like, you're from over there. I'm like, my mom still has an accent, but she's not one of them. She's a Yankee
now.
Yeah, right? She's one of them, you know? And what's one thing, in fact, just to kind of shift gears, I know this is a little bit off topic, but we're Black History Month, so let's talk a little bit about Africa. Why not, right? China is destroying Africa. The CCP specifically is destroying Africa.
And Jamaica.
Oh, well, you got to tell me about what's going on in Jamaica. Because my mom told me when she was out there in Ghana, and I got a lot of relatives that are in Ghana, and they tell me about this, man. The Chinese, I shouldn't even say the Chinese, the CCP is out there doing some very terrible things to the people in Ghana.
Creating their own police departments out there.
Yeah, they're treating them like second-class citizens in their own country. You know, it's kind of like how you know, there was imperialist construction projects. You know, hey, you could take on this loan to build this bridge, to build this reservoir, but you have to hire our people and you guys pay the debt. So now you guys are impoverished and you're screwed and you got to borrow more money from the IMF and the World Bank to bail yourself out so you can get out of this problem in the first place. And that's the same thing that Gaddafi was trying to do. Not the best guy, but what did Barack Obama do? Go over there, bomb him, kill him, destroy him, and created ISIS. Boom.
Well, what did Gaddafi do?
Well, he was trying to unify Africa.
His citizens were literate. They had health
Yeah,
care.
not the best guy, but he actually did what was right for the people. He made a statement. He made a statement. He made a statement that before he passes away, before his own parents would be clothed and housed, he will ensure that every Libyan is clothed and housed before it actually happens. His parents actually died before he was ever able to accomplish that goal. But he was dead serious about it.
Clinton and Obama went out there and took him out.
Yeah, and
Think about that.
And it's like, look, to be completely honest, Africa would be a problem, for us in America. Let's be honest here. They got a lot of stuff going on out there, a lot of resource and everything. And I don't have an issue with that. I'm like, okay, well then let's work. I would rather the Africans work with us than the Chinese.
Of course.
You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, well, bro,
we're gonna have to have that happen.
We have to.
Congressmen especially.
Well, I see why not. I don't see why not. And it's like, because in fact, we absolutely have to, because I'm like, listen, China, they're encroaching, they're moving, it's all these other countries. I'm like, no, man, we want the world to work with the United States. We don't want you working with the CCP, because the CCP does not have your best interest. Look at what they're doing in my parents' home country. They're tearing the place apart. They're over there kidnapping people, doing all kinds of really jacked up stuff in Africa right now. CCP, you and I are not good friends. And speaking of that, I don't know if you heard about what Joe Biden said at the town hall the other day about China. They asked them a question. That was
just their culture, that they got a million Muslims locked up in re-education camps.
When they asked about the Muslim Uyghurs that are locked up in the concentration camps and the one-child policy, how they're killing all the girls and all these really jacked up things, straight up murder, bro, murder, indoctrination, destruction of families, all these things, right? And that's just the culture of the Chinese people. I'm not concerned about what's going on with China. You know why? Because they sent $1 billion and some change to my son, Hunter Biden, through a company called KBR. When they sent that money over to Rosemont Seneca and they started doing all this crime and really crazy stuff. I'm bought and paid for by China. Come on, man.
That should have really let people know that he is bought and paid for
CCP,
by China.
That's why we call him Beijing Joe. Beijing Joe.
Wait, so Joe says that Trump throws tariffs on him.
Yeah.
He
don't play that.
He backs Taiwan. He backs Hong Kong. But Trump's the weak and ineffective one. Where are we at in this country?
I'm like, no, I think you got to be backwards.
You got a little confused, because think about it. When Trump was president, who rioted? Hong Kong youth, over 1 million people in the street. People in Iran.
With American flags, by the way.
Russia, with American flags. They had protests in Iran, protests in Russia. They had protests in China. What do you think is going to happen now? That's all done. It's dead. It's dead, because the world recognizes when we have strong leadership in the White House. They also recognize when we have weak and effective leadership. And by what China's doing, I just saw today, they're going crazy in the South China Sea right now. They're encroaching on Japanese waters right now. They're throwing more Muslims in concentration camps. Now we just found out that they're gang raping them in those concentration camps.
Doing some really, really evil things. Evil things.
People might say, one thing they're going to probably say is, well, Trump never said too much about it. He did say stuff about it sometimes, but you may be right, okay. But look at the policies they put in place. And the person he had talking about it was Mike Pompeo. And when Mike Pompeo talked about it, he was very strong and very direct. Who on Joe Biden's team is doing that right now?
Circle back, Psaki.
Yeah,
we'll circle back to that. We'll circle back to that.
Yep.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that next Wednesday. Next Wednesday comes around. We'll talk about it next Wednesday.
I miss Kaylee.
Oh, Kaylee was a beast. Kaylee was a beast. Like, if Psaki came to if I was gonna say a joke and I blew it. Put it like this, man. Kaylee's got the whole arsenal. Psaki's got a butter knife. And I really miss that. I miss that lady back. She's got to be back in the White House.
And actually, Andrew just said to us, locked up in camps and organs being harvested.
Yeah.
Evil, very evil.
Yeah.
The CCP needs to be taken down.
Now, one thing that really bothers me as well, too, is that the G7 moving forward, Darius, I'm sorry to cut it off, but man, we got really good chemistry in the show, man. I think we do really good.
We got really good chemistry in real life, man.
Now imagine us in the Capitol, like really throwing it down for the people.
Let's go.
Imagine that, right? The people want this. You guys over here being screwballs, it's not happening anymore. We're doing what the people want. That's it.
I see Saudi. Why don't you just turn on your mic and tell me something, Saudi? What's going on?
Your volume is slightly low.
So you got it. You're the engineer. You got to raise it.
Already did.
Oh, thank you.
It's so soothing.
Go ahead. Talk to us one more time, son.
This is the Not Black, Not White American podcast.
That sounds like a
And
commercial.
we are here with Billy Prempeh and Darius Mayfield, congressional candidate for the 9th District, congressional candidate for the 12th District. And actually, you can go to my website and see my platform and donate at www.dariusmayfieldforamerica.com. And you?
I have two websites. The first website is billy2020nj.com. And yes, we have to change that because it's 2022, but it's billy2020nj.com for now. If you want to learn more about Revive America and what we're doing across the United States in New Jersey, helping with the voter roll cleanup, getting people involved in county committee, and also helping, finding, educating, and promoting other candidates to get up and run, then go to revive-usa.com and, fill out a form and be a part of the movement.
And for the American Party, you can go to wetheamericanparty.com. Yeah, man, we do got good chemistry. This has been a great talk, man. And, just to hit on this, because we are talking about Black History Month. How do we move forward? How do we bring, especially in terms of politics, right? Because listen, we're conservatives, right? But we also both know, and I think we can both agree that there can be some insensitivity sometimes to some of the plights of certain people, just like on the other side, there's some insensitivity to the plight of others. So how do we, again, it's not black, not white, American, not left, not right, American, not Democrat, not Republican, American. How do we continue? What words can you put out there to the people to speak to them right now to try to start healing us a little bit and bringing the two groups together and helping them understand that, listen, we might have differences politically. We might even have differences morally. But at the end of the day, we're all American people, and our number one objective should be to secure the health and security of this country.
Mm-hmm. Well, the number one thing is here's what I would say to actually resolve that issue is like I would answer that question with another question myself. I said, what's the difference between being black in Germany and being black in America?
I don't know.
Well, when you're black in Germany, you're black in Germany.
Yeah.
When you're black in America, you're an American. So one of the reasons why I don't get caught up in all these kinds of things or these nationalities, the thing that makes America so different and makes America so beautiful is why I think it's one of the most badass countries of all time. Excuse my French, but it's the only way to explain America.
Ever.
It's just the greatest place in the world. Hands down, bro. Like this place, like
ever.
Look, man, we got Hulk Hogan. This is the country. All right.
We got Randy Macho Man Savage.
We got Kurt Angle, bro.
My man. We got The Rock.
We got. Well, not Lance Armstrong. That guy. What's the guy that's?
Oh yeah, Lance. Yeah.
Was Lance the guy that? Am I confusing him with Neil?
Yeah, that cheated.
The cheater?
Yeah, that was Lance.
I'm talking about Neil Armstrong.
We got Floyd Mayweather.
We got Mayweather. You know what I mean? We got Donald Trump. Are you kidding me?
For
we got
real.
Trump. All right, but listen,
yeah, buddy. We got Jersey Shore.
So we're going on topic. But, the good thing, the difference is in America, you are an American. That's all that really matters. That's why I don't get caught up in the whole Hispanic American, Black American hyphen. I believe it was Thomas Jefferson who said, like, beware of this hyphenated American thing, Black American, Chinese American. No, bro, you're an American, period. You come here, if you come from a different country, at the end of the day, the only thing that I care about is, are you American and are you going to go hard for America?
Yep.
You are? Let's go. We're on the same team.
Yep.
You speak Japanese? I don't care. I understand you, right? You speak English? Yep. Are you an American? We're on the same team. Because all these things, when we start putting ourselves into these little groups of black, white, this is Marxism. Like, I don't know if you've ever read the Communist Manifesto. I'm not a communist. I read this book because I want to know how these people actually think. Mm-hmm. And what they do is they break society into these small groups. Get the men against the women, the guys against the girls, the boys, the young against the old, the left and right. Like, put them all into these boxes where they can never actually be cohesive. You have to separate the people also into two different groups, the proletariat and the bourgeoisie. The bourgeoisie being the rich and the elite, the proletariat, the people that are the weaklings on the bottom, right? Mm-hmm. You always have to create this divide and strife because the people that feel marginalized are easy to control and they move them forward. And just like how I see a lot of these politicians that are coming out and are pandering, we have to do more for the African-American community. We have to go out and get the African-American community out. We need to have more African-Americans in Congress. And it's like you said, or on politics. I don't see you doing any of that kind of stuff. What I do see is, hey, what can we do to shake down the black people to go out and vote, right? And that's the problem. We keep thinking as a color. We keep thinking as a monolith rather than, yo, bro, how about we go out and get the American vote out, right? Why don't you just go out and get Americans? Because at the end of the day, I don't care if you are rainbow colored, bro. Do you understand the Constitution and can you do your job effectively? Great.
Yep.
Are you an American? Is that what it says on your passport? Great. I don't care about that stuff. That color stuff, I don't get caught up in that. I don't identify with that. And I encourage a lot of people not to identify with that because at the end of the day, that's what's used to control the mindsets of people. Black History Month, for example, and Morgan Freeman, I'm pretty sure you saw the video where he talks about it. He's like, are you really going to relegate what African Americans have done for the United States to 1 month to recognize them? And it's not really done with any of the other major groups. Maybe a week or two talking about something, hey, Taco Tuesday or something ridiculous, But there's these months to segregate when a certain group of people have done it. When at the end of the day, bro, for example, the Chinese built the railroads in the United States. They contributed a tremendous amount to the United States and its growth too. Are we going to have a Chinese History Month?
Well, I'm glad you said that. We're actually about to teach these people here something real quick. So, one, you were just talking about the whole Black History Month thing, and you talked about the Constitution. One, I think especially we just want to get back to our conservative roots.
That's it.
Which is the founding principles of the Constitution and what our forefathers put forth, which is the pursuit is with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Absolutely.
Right? Unabated. We don't need big government. We want to be able to enjoy those things. We want to be able to live our life as free Americans. And, the government is there to help when and as they should, which should be very, very limited. Now, here's another lesson for everybody. Me and Billy didn't practice what we were going to come up here and say, right? We didn't practice what we were going to come up here and say.
If you guys know me, I don't ever read a speech, so he definitely don't read a speech either. So,
and this is the reason I say this, because this is going to be one of those moments where me and Billy disagree on a topic, but we're still good.
That's okay,
right? We're still good, guys. That's normalcy. That's how you're supposed to act. Especially in America, where you're free to have your own opinions and think your own thoughts.
It's this thing they tell you about on television called the democratic process.
And it's that thing that your parents taught you when you were like 1.5 years old, right?
Compromise.
Literally. For me, I'm okay with a Black History Month. And the reason why is because in this country, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying before with Obama and Kamala. And again, there's nothing wrong with them being from parents of immigrants and not being descendants of slaves. But there's too much that has happened in this country. There's too many things that are still affected to this day because of the things, whether it's the Jim Crow laws, whether it's slavery and things like that. And listen, I understand that every white person that is in this country right now had nothing to do with slavery. I get that. I'm not saying you owe me anything, but I do understand there's still a lot of hurt and anguish in some of those things. And there's a lot of understanding that a lot of people that come from the communities that we have don't have as to why they are so angry in some cases, why they feel the angst and anguish that they do. And a lot of it derives from some of these things that happen and not ever being dealt with properly, right? It's almost like PTSD for a lot of people in these situations. So to have a month, and listen, I also agree with him in the sense that it's kind of like Valentine's Day. We don't really officially celebrate it, but, we put it out there. But every day is Valentine's Day for us, right?
If it's not, you're not in love.
Seriously. Every day is Black History Month for us. Honestly, and this might be controversial, every day is White History Month for us, right?
No, but that's a fact, what you're saying.
White people that have given, had made major contributions not only to this country, but to this world. There's Black people that have made major contributions not only to this country, to this world. There's immigrants that have made contributions not only to this country, but to this world. There's everybody. And the sooner that people start understanding that and being able to realize and really communicate about that just simple idea, the simple idea that we should all know from by the time we're 7, 8 years old, and especially grow up in this country where you get taught these things, the better. So, again, this is not a situation where we're going to disagree and I got to cancel Billy now or he got to cancel me.
That's what Democrats do.
You going to cancel me, bro?
That's what Democrats do.
Bro, I disagree. Are you going to cancel me?
That's what Democrats
do. All right, man. So we're not going to cancel each other. All right. But I also understand, the other side of it. But, I'm definitely of that side where, it's okay. It's okay. To have this month to celebrate Black people. Have you guys been seeing, if you're watching my campaign page on IG and Facebook and my personal, every single day this month I've been posting up a new African American that has contributed substantially to this country and the things that we have created in this country, and that's completely okay. And next month is International Women's Month, and we'll do it again for the women, not just American women, but just women in general. So we'll keep on those type of things, but yeah, I just wanted to put that out there and let people know
what I think would be more valuable than a Black History Month.
Wait, not to cut you off, I'm sorry, because somebody just said something. Kathy, you're absolutely right, and if you look at every post that I've put up for Black History Month this month, the other hashtag that is on there says hashtag American History. And that's my whole point. You're absolutely right, because these are Americans, and that is American history.
Well,
and again, this is not the white power sign.
But that was a sidebar. But we just talked about black history. Black is like, oh, white power.
Yo, hold up. The logic is some people would be like, these guys are talking about black history, and he's throwing up white power signs.
Right. He doesn't know he's an Uncle Tom. He's against his own race.
That's when you give him that look, that meme.
Like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Like, you on drugs?
Yeah. But look, what I would like to see more than a Black History Month, and what I think would make a lot more sense, is these are people that should be honored every single day. I would like to say, hey, look, I would like to see a famous person or someone who's contributed something to society, regardless of their race, honored every single day. Like similar to how Google comes out and puts like a different person every single day, because there's a lot of people that should be honored. I say to relegate that to, because like one thing about America that makes us so special and that makes our country so special is like,
I'm done. I'm canceling Billy, bro.
Hey man, it's all good.
I'm canceling.
It's all good. It's all good, man. You know what I mean? Y'all still love me. We still live, you feel me? But you know, the thing is like with I lost my train of thought now, man, because I'm getting all ratchet and stuff.
My bad.
But you know, so anyway, kind of just to kind of backtrack to what I was saying was that I would love to see someone every single day honored for a contribution that they've done, whether it's on the news or it's on social media or it's something that needs to be, because there's a lot of people that have contributed. I mean, heck, how many Indians do we know of that have contributed to society? You know what I'm saying? And bro, this ain't no racial here. Almost all the doctors are Indians, and y'all are the best. Okay, no, you know what I mean? And nobody should take offense to that. It's a fantastic stereotype to have, in my opinion.
You're talking about Indian Indians, not Native Americans.
I'm talking about Indian Indians, like guys from India. You know what I mean? Well, even Native Americans,
just
bro.
Just like Africans.
Well, yeah, like people come here and they like look. There's people from all across the world.
But you know what though?
What?
You make a great point. Why do they come here? Why are
exactly
they so good?
Exactly
That's
my
the
point.
questions you should be asking.
That's the thing. You know why? Because America, and it's not even in my opinion, this is a fact. America is a country of exceptionalism. We do everything better. We do everything bigger.
Facts.
Everything tastier.
Facts.
Everything louder.
Facts.
Everything more in your face.
Facts.
And the funniest thing is when I was stationed in England, somebody brought some. This is a fact. I was stationed in England. It's funny because when I was stationed in England, I remember I met these Indian girls. These English girls right there. We're having a conversation. We were at an Indian restaurant, actually, ironically. But we were having a conversation, and I forgot what it was. And And I was like, yo, this food is mad good, or something like that, right? Or I said something like, yo, like, oh, no, that's like mad food or whatever. And I remember the girl said something. She was like, you know something funny about you Americans that I've noticed? English girl. And I'm like, what? And she was like, why does everything have to be so big with you people? And I'm like, and I didn't know if she was trying to like rip me or if she was like being, I was like, what do you mean? It's like, just listen to what you said. Like, oh, the food is mad good. Why does it have to be mad? Why can't it just be good? And I'm like,
that exceptional.
Because it's mad good. It has to be more. You know what I mean? It's like, but why is America everything so more? And I started to notice that.
Say fat?
Well, yeah. Yo, that's fat. You know what I mean? That's fat. That's butter. You remember that?
PHAT.
Yeah, fat. Just to add a word. We had to make it up to make it bigger than fat. You know? But that's one of the things about America. It's like, listen, I'm the best doctor in Africa, but why am I going to go to America? Because that's where the exceptionalism is. That's where the best schools are, the best buildings, the best research. They got the money. They got the resources. They got the ingenuity. If I want to be the guy who changes history, I got to go to the United States. And I could do great things in my country, but I could do great things for the world in America. And that's why people choose to come to the United States. Under Joe Biden, on the other hand, though, this guy's looking to walk into the G7 talking about the time for America first is over. Going to a different time. Listen, this guy is basically telling you to your face, I'm selling you to China. There's nothing you can do about it. There's a lot we can do about it, which is why coming in this midterm season in 2022, we got to vote a lot of these people out. Both sides of the aisle as well, too, because there's people that are on the Republican Party. We can't just support somebody because they're a Republican and, hey, this guy's a Republican, he's red, therefore he's the guy. No, if you are not doing what's right for the people, then you got to go, just like the Democrat that we can't deal with either. We got to replace everybody and put people like myself, people like Darius Mayfield, people like other candidates that actually care about the people, that are actually trying to do the right thing for the people that are coming with new, innovative, and great ideas, and not just a bunch of stuff that sounds like fluff, that it sounds like something you want to hear. Because a lot of these guys get canned canned speeches, canned things to say, canned scripts. Most of them can't even remember the things that they say in between different interviews, and they end up stumping themselves over lies. But then mainstream media protects them. You know how it works, right? A lot of these guys aren't genuine. That's why these people need a script. And they need someone to hand them an agenda, because their agenda is to lie to you. It's not to actually do what's best for you. Me, I could talk about these stuff off the cuff without a script. Darius could talk about this stuff without a script off the cuff, because this is stuff we live. This is stuff we've seen. It's stuff that we know. And we know we could actually do something better because we've come from it.
Wait, who else do we know that can do that?
You.
Donald J. Trump.
And you.
Absolutely. The people. I mean, you're hitting it on the head, man, and I agree with you that
because we're just people. We're regular people at the end of the day.
And this is an exceptional country. I do believe in American exceptionalism, absolutely. And guess what, guys? So does most of the world. So does the rest of the world. And like he was just saying, that's why they want to come here. That's why the best doctors want to come here. That's why China to this day sends their people here to go to school, only to force them to come back and start instituting the stuff that we taught them here.
Yeah.
Why would they do that, people?
Trying to reverse engineer.
That? So I mean, bro, we've talked about some really important stuff, man. I love. We're gonna have to come back and do this again, man.
How long have we been talking?
And
we talk too much.
A little over an hour.
Oh, that's good.
And you know, I want to let you guys know. I know I didn't go in the beginning for my candidacy. Just so you guys know a little bit, I am a pro-life candidate, and my top issues are. One, just unity, man. Just bringing us together. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Conservative, or Liberal. I want to bring us together under common sense solutions and really march forward together. As Billy mentioned before, term limits. I'm all about term limits, and we could talk about that more one day because actually somebody gave me a really different perspective on term limits. But I'm for term limits.
I think I know where you're going too, but I still think
yeah,
because I know the flip side you're talking about. I'm like, it makes sense.
It was interesting, but you know, right now we still term limits
because it's like I get it, but no,
we want to break up the political cartel.
Yeah, it can't happen.
As simple as that, man. When you have people like Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer that have been in office for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, there's no wonder why they feel so comfortable talking disparagingly to their constituents, even if they disagree with them, even if they're on the opposite political side of the aisle. It shows a lack of class, a lack of tact, and it's not what we want, man. It doesn't represent us, and that's why we want regular people running that understand regular experience that can really relate to regular everyday Americans, because I promise you, we won't treat them with that same disrespect. Even if I disagree with you, it'll never happen. My other platform is also school choice, and Billy talked about it a little bit. I have a very unique story. I'm not going to go into it now, but
I wish we could have got more into school choice as well too, because that's
we will. We're going to come back, bro.
Oh yeah, we have to do a second episode because that's something that we spent a lot of time on the Jaro bill.
We did.
School choice is something
I'm actually a product of school choice. Of actually not, because I like I told you, I was born in the hood. And at a certain point, I'll just tell you guys, when I was in third grade, I got chased through my school with a knife. That's some kid in third grade, bro. I found them between two garbage cans. I ran all the way home that day. My mother never sent me back there. A week later, she used my aunt's address to send me to school in South Brunswick.
Yo, I know a lot of people that had to do that.
Year later, somebody ratted us out. They told my mom they had us under investigation, and they kicked me out of the school and said, listen, you either take him out now and it's over, or if you don't take him out, we're going to charge you for all the money that we spent on your kid being here without you guys actually living this. My mom, I was just talking to her yesterday. She said she went in there and flipped out. Said, if you do that, went off on them. And they were like, all right, Mrs. Mayfield, we'll kind of work with you. So my mother moved everything she had and moved to the poorest part of that same town, the poorest part, right next to the trailer parks. We live right next to the trailer parks in that same town, just so we can remain in that school. If we had school choice, we wouldn't have had to go through those things. So that's something we can definitely dive into. And lastly, one of the things I'm going to be tackling is prison reform. I love what Donald Trump did with the First Step Act. And as I was talking to Alex Salvio on OAN the other day, he said it perfectly. 3, 4, 5 years ago, this is not something that most Republicans would have even considered. Yeah. But Donald Trump changed everything, and he did it compassionately. And that's what you guys don't give him enough credit for this. He was a Republican that did this. He went against his party's own interests in some cases.
Obama bragged about wanting to do this for about 6 years and never did it.
He just created
He pondered on it. Never did it, though.
More division between police and, the communities and everything like that. But I would love to see the Second Step Act go through. And if, when myself and Billy make it to Congress, that would definitely be something that I would work on. And I also promise you guys all this. When I am elected to Congress, I will either sponsor or co-sponsor a bill for term limits.
Oh yeah, that's one of the first things I'm doing. I think everybody look. I mean, every freshman congressman that's coming into office, bro. You are going to support term limits.
We're going to run up in AOC's office and slam it right on her desk.
Hey, man, we ain't going to do all that, bro. He's trying to get us fired on the first day. Like, no.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong. I'm just running up in there and just throwing the bill on her desk.
I thought you said slam her on the desk. No. I was like, no, you shot out, bro. We can't do that, man. Like, no.
I do not hit women. No,
that's what are you talking about? Okay. But, good. But, so I love this show. Good stuff. But listen, man, we come into office, man. You come in as a freshman. Listen, I'm coming in there with a force. All right, I'm gonna be like, listen, I'm term limits. If you're not on term limits, you're not the guy. All right, no matter who you are on the eye, do you support term limits? You're not. Oh, because it's your job on the line, right? So clearly you're the scumbag. Guess what? We got social media. Ain't that something? We got social media. You guys know how to use social media? Most of these guys don't.
And think about that. These are two guys running for an office that we already want to go into and limit our capacity of being.
Yeah, it's like, and that's another thing that's one thing that you should really look a lot of these politicians in the face and question them. It's like, if they're like, oh, well, I'm against term limits for that flip side reason, which is the only reasonable reason I can kind of understand that whole flip side reason, right? And maybe we're talking about the same thing, but just kind of paraphrase on it. That flip side reason is a lot of people say, it's like, well, what if we get Darius or Billy in office? What if we want Darius and Billy in there for the next 20, 30 years because everybody else is a scumbag? That's exactly why it is up to you, the people, to find the next replacement. Legitimate replacement. The problem is America. Another reason why we're so great, we're so exceptional at everything. We're exceptional at passing the responsibility to somebody else. You see, our electoral process, a lot of us are not involved. Most people don't even know what a county committee is. When you're on county committee, that's how you go and get candidates in position to get a nomination for their party to actually fight in the primary, or run in the primary, I should say, win a general election and actually be there. But that can't happen unless you get involved in the political process. You actually help scout people and get them into that party line. If not, these party chairmen, right? And not all of them are bad people. Some of them, I'll keep my words to myself, but a lot of these people, sometimes they just kind of make decisions on their own and say, hey, we're giving the nomination to this person because I like this guy. Yeah. But guess what? Because you're not involved in that political process, you can't get the job done. So if you want someone like me or that, because I'd say this all the time, I'm only one guy. I can't be the guy forever. There has to be a new guy or a new lady. That has to fill the shoes. You know what I mean?
Once I run for president, you're my VP, and then I go out.
Yeah,
and you're the president,
it's got to be.
This is how we gonna do it.
It's got to be a chain.
I'm gonna run for president when I'm gonna make him my VP, and then when my term is over, he's gonna run for president when I'm be his VP.
Yeah, and then we'll just switch it again. We'll it'll be the Mayfield Prempeh regime just keeps going back and forth.
Born in the USA.
Yeah, man. Well, actually, the whole Kogan theme song is gonna be my intro. I am a real American. Every rally, you gotta play that song.
In all honesty, then I'll probably play a rap song. I'll probably be like, we taking over one city at a time. Guys, listen, I hate to stop us here, but we definitely got to get out of here. I'm just going to go over two things that somebody put up just so we can get to some of the comments. Eugene says, can the next episode be about voting rights and how we can get rid of mail-in ballots and make voter ID? This is what I will say to you, Eugene. Especially my campaign, and Billy's going to be involved as well. We're actually going to be bringing a voter registration / voter integrity class and classes to these districts. So we got some special guests. So we're going to be doing some fun stuff. Just let it warm up for us a little bit, and we'll get there.
Yeah, because it's kind of cold right now.
Yes, very. And Kim says, prison reform, and this is what I love, man. Conservatives talking about this stuff because these are the conversations that we weren't having 4, 5, 6 years ago. And
this is the stuff that matters that typically gets overlooked.
Yep. And Kim says prison reform 100%. As a former career NJDOC employee, the Department of Corrections, corruption, she calls it, has only gotten so much worse over the past 15 years or so. And we just heard about that women's prison in New Jersey where women are being raped, abused, all types of stuff. And I saw some candidates out there talking about that. We want to stop that stuff, man. We are regular Americans. If somebody, and
what do you mean talking about that stuff? What were you doing?
What do you mean?
the candidates that were talking about, like talking about it negatively, or
no, talking about
okay.
talking about how we need to fix that. And
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I mean, if somebody raped your daughter or your niece, how would you feel, right? That's how I feel when I hear about stuff, whether it's somebody in prison that I don't know or somebody at some institution. We are all Americans. These are our women. We need to protect our women. And honestly, the guards at these prisons doing this stuff should be ashamed of themselves. Honestly, in a lot of cases, I think they should be castrated, but that's a whole nother thing.
You know what? You know what the good thing about all this is, about what you're talking about? This is exactly why we need the JARO bill, Justice and Accountability and Reporting Officers bill. That's what that stands for, actually.
And term limits. Because these politicians are being paid by these people's unions, these people's reps and things like that. And that's why nothing ever changes. That's why they sweep it under the rug and we keep moving on. We are not about moving on. We don't care about the status quo. I put up a thing today. We don't care about the status quo. We will blow that up and make our own lanes. And I think that's what we're doing, man. So I'm proud of you, man. I'm honored to know you, man. I definitely appreciate you coming on today. And I think we're going to do some amazing things. And I look forward to going to Congress with you, bro.
Oh, it's going to be lit, boy. Every time we go to D.C., it's good fun. When I'm out just in the Capitol, like, yo, we in there, dog. It's going to be a good time.
You already know. We're doing a party in our office. We're going to have offices right next to each other. We're going to do a party the first week. The whole first week we do a party.
They're going to be like, yo, these guys from New Jersey are not supposed to be here.
Do something.
We're going to turn everybody against them. I'm like, that's okay. We're going to turn everybody to our side because they're going to realize how much of a dweeb you guys are on the other side.
They're going to hear me in the hallway just talking about, yeah, buddy, it's T-shirt time.
They're gonna be like,
the cabs are here.
They're gonna be like, these guys are so unprofessional. Unprofessional, yeah, we like to have fun. But when it comes to the stuff that matters, you better believe we bring our A game.
When it comes to business, we will tear that. Stop playing me, yo.
It's the whole point.
Stop playing. So don't ever get it twisted. We like to have fun. We like to be regular guys. But I promise you guys, when it comes down to getting down to business, we'll do just that. I come from the business world. This man is an Army vet. So
Air Force.
You already I'm sorry, my bad.
Excuse me,
my bad. Air Force vet. So you already know. You shouldn't even think about that or try to discount it for 1 second. We know how to get serious, and we know how to get serious real quick. I promise you that. So, guys, thank you again. You want to tell me your website one more time?
Yeah, so you guys can check me out at billy2020nj.com. You can check out the Revive movement at revive-usa.com. You can find me on all social media at the handle Some Guy Named Bill.
Love that handle.
Or just type my name, Billy Prempeh. Either Billy Prempeh or Some Guy Named Bill. I guarantee you'll find me on social media.
I know while Saudi is over there queuing up our exit music, I just want to, you can go to my website for the campaign at DariusMayfield4America.com. The American Party, www.wetheamericanparty.com.
Beautiful website, by the way.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. And you guys can listen. To all the previous episodes on Not Black, Not White American podcast, and listen to everything at www.notblacknotwhiteamerican.com. Remember, this Sunday, tomorrow, you have Right Hook Podcast with Steve Hook coming up at 7 p.m. and that's righthookpodcast.com. And myself and Priscilla will be on there with a brand new episode at Not Black, Not White American.com at 8 p.m. And you can catch both of those shows on iTunes and Spotify, man. And again, I just want to thank Saudia, our engineer. You got us all queued up to go, lady. And Eli, my man, Billy's campaign manager. You are the man, Eli.
The greatest of all time. Eli Moalem.
He's such an amazing guy. Always the coolest, always the nicest, man. And you know what? We don't have enough of that type of stuff in our politics, man. So I appreciate genuine people like these guys that just have big hearts, that are regular people, and just not slime balls like a lot of these people, man, to be honest with you.
By the way, that was a recruiting call for you, the common person. You got to get involved.
Yes,
you got to get involved in the political process.
Let's put more regular people. And speaking of that, with Billy Sandman, not only at the federal level, but let's start, and I know me and Billy will be working together to do things. Let's start putting people at the state level, in the local level. And, Phil Rizzo, one of the gentlemen that threw his hat in the ring the other day, said on a Zoom call the other day, something I didn't know is that in the state of New Jersey, 50% of all local student council races, all school board races, go unopposed. That's sickening.
Oh, yeah.
That's why they keep getting in there. That's why they keep passing these bloated budgets, which then increase our property taxes, which are horrendous in this country. And in this state, and we'll talk about that more later. But 50% of the people go unopposed. So if we just take our groups that we have tens of thousands of people in the groups between us, and we start putting up people just to run to get 4, 5, 6, 7 votes, we can flip our entire councils
Oh,
and
yeah.
start doing some real work.
Oh yeah, and to show you just how realistic that is, it's like that's initially what the mission of Revive America was, and it's expanded to doing multiple different things. Now it's kind of just been like, you know, politics in the box kind of thing, but that's what are the things that we need. For example, a school board race is it's a perfect example of what you're talking about. These things get unopposed because one, sadly, even though it's something every parent should be paying attention to, most of them don't pay attention to what's going on with these school board races unless it's on an election year, presidential year. I mean, nobody really pays attention to that kind of stuff, unfortunately. Now, what we want to do is we want to get people on these boards, get them elected, but we're building Revive America for something nationwide. Put this into perspective. We grow a movement, we get this movement huge. Let's say we got 100,000 people in there, right? Darius Mayfield's running for school board, right? He needs $100,000. Everybody, we just need $1. I don't want $1 million. We just need $1 from all 100,000 of you guys. What is that going to do for his campaign? What is that going to do for the common guy that's in, you know, Podunk somewhere in the middle of Ohio, who's trying to actually get something accomplished, right? Those little bits in a school board race, which isn't even a lot of money, but that's ludicrous. You come with that kind of money, you could actually get the word out very, very easily in a small city, in a small district like that. And we want to help empower people to be able to do these kinds of things because we want to make it easy for the next man to come in. Because my race, and it's good. You came in at an opportune time in politics, and thankfully you have a lot of people that have come around you, kind of said, hey, look, this is the kind of stuff you got to watch out for, and you're in a really good position politically. When I came in, I was like, go in there, sport, just, naive Billy, like, walking into the wolves. And then they started ripping off my suit and tie. And then it was terrible. The GOP, didn't really do too much to back the kid up. But, I had to figure it out all on my own. Shout out to Eli back there, Mickey, and the rest of the Wolfpack crew that kind of helped us come together and figure this kind of stuff out so that we shouldn't have to do that or the people don't have to depend too much on the party. That's where we, the people, come in because it's us that are going to elect these people at the end of the day. So shouldn't we have a say in getting these people to where they need to be, helping them getting the financing that they need, spreading the word? Grassroots movement.
Baby. Let's get there, man.
Yeah.
Kim, I see you. We'll be talking, and congratulations on that run, and we'll be talking as well, man. But thank you guys again for joining us, man. This was a great time, went better than I even expected. What a great conversation.
That was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, and we'll do it again.
Oh, yeah.
Well, maybe we'll jump Priscilla in since we're not doing specifically Black History Month next time. We'll join Priscilla and the three of us to get on here. We'll keep having some fun. And guys, me and Priscilla will see you guys next week, all week at CPAC in Orlando. We will be out there next week. We're very honored to announce that we are official media for CPAC. We'll be on Media Row, everything. So we plan to bring you guys some great interviews. So it's going to be a fun week. Watch out for us. And again, look out for the shows. Right Hook Podcast, 7 o'clock tomorrow. And Not Black, Not White American Podcast, 8 p.m. tomorrow. Not Black, Not White, AmericanPodcast.com. Thank you guys for joining us. And we will see you soon.
Thank you all. God bless.
Buddy.
God bless you all.
Jersey is a building.
That was a good show, man.